y'all, my name is Ashley and I'm here to show you how to achieve this beautiful ash blonde color. This is the princess unit on my website. It is made in raw Cambodian 613 and I made it on the sewing machine myself. However, you do not need raw Cambodian to achieve this color. You can also do this with regular 613. So we're going to start out strong with the 4NN Color Tango by Wella, the generic Icy Ash Blonde, and then the medium blonde by Wella. So it doesn't have to be the generic brand. It just so happened to be what I already had. And I like to start the base color off with Ash Blonde. So this is the color that it was before we started, and those were the results. You want to make sure that you put something over your mannequin head so you will not end up with those marks that you see that I have on mine. So I'm just going to go in with a little grocery bag, tie it up, pin it together, and we're good to go. So here is the unit herself. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Also, make sure you're wearing clothes that you do not mind getting something on just in case you get some color on it. And make sure that you're working on a floor that is hardwood or something that you can mop up or put something down under like a towel or something just to guard your floor so that none of the permanent color gets on there. And we are going in now with the 4NN, that is the base color. It does not have to be that cream, but that is just what I already had, so we're using what we have. Speaking of using what we already have, the instructions do say to use 20 volume developer. However, I had 10 and 30, so we may do. I wanted to use the 10, of course, but I didn't want to use as much 30 because we are going by ratios here. So you want to put double the cream developer in there than the color that you already have in there so that you can spread the mixture out evenly. And you want to get a whisk and whisk it together just to get all the lumps and clumps out. And the whisk doesn't have to be this big. I do recommend using a smaller one, but the big ones will do as well. Now we're going to go in with some even spray, or you can get Got2b spray and spray in there on the lace. Do a thick layer of it and make sure you let it air dry. This is just to help ensure that any of the dye doesn't leak through. Not saying that this is a foolproof plan because you may have some spots, but the point is to have really as least as possible leaking through. So now we're going to go ahead and go in, and I like to part it at least about 1 inch apart every time I do a section. So 1 inch of hair for a section, but it doesn't have to be a full inch. It can be less than 1 inch, just as long as it's no bigger than 1 inch, because you want to make sure that you are able to distribute it throughout the hair evenly and properly without missing any spots or making it a sloppy job. Now you also want to make sure that how much of the developer of the mixture that you have on the brush is not a whole lot. You don't want it dripping off the brush. So as you can see, I have just the right amount to touch up those tips, and we're going to go in and try our best to avoid hitting the lace as much as possible. Go down as far as you can, as close as you can to the lace, but if you could avoid hitting the lace when you are first applying it, then that would be really great because you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to have a lot of it on the lace. So I want to go in and do the front first. Now I'm doing the back of the section, and this is good for the overall look, but you're going to want to have to go in after doing the initial coloring and part little sections within that little section and color those roots, because as you can see, some of it has been missed. So you want to make sure that you are getting every single piece that you can, because you don't want a spotty, sloppy looking job where you have to go back in and recolor because you did not get it the first time. Not saying that that's a bad thing to go in and recolor, because at the end of this video I actually had to go in and recolor myself. I had to go in a little bit further down on the roots because I wanted it to look as natural as possible. But just on that first color go around, I really don't recommend going all the way down, especially if you're new to doing this, because it could leave your lace with dark brown spots or black spots, whatever color you're using to color it, and then you're stuck with it, So just trying to be as mindful and careful as we can be. And as you can see, I did comb through it. That also helps evenly distribute it as well. So once you're done coloring it, before you color it and after you color it, you want to make sure that you comb through it just to help distribute it more evenly. As you can see here, I'm combing before we start on it, and I'm going to comb it again once we're done like I did on that last section. And we're going to go in again with light strokes again. As you can see, it's not too much color on the brush, because you don't want it to be too heavy. You don't want it dripping all over the wig, because once it touches it, it more than likely is going to change the color in that spot if you don't immediately rinse it off, which will also set you back if it does start doing that, because now you have to wait on that part to dry after rinsing it off and everything. So just going in with a light touch, no matter how long it takes, will help you make sure that you're not making a big mess on the wig. And so we're just doing the same things as we did in the first section, going in smaller sections and coloring and really getting down there in those roots, making sure that we don't have big patchy blonde spots left anywhere, but being very intentional about the distribution of the color and in the places and the areas that we distribute it. And we're just going to continue to do this throughout the entire closure. And these are the finished results. So this is what I was telling y'all about earlier, how I didn't go all the way down. So you can still see some yellow at the roots. So when I got done and I washed it out, I actually went back in and went a little bit further down on the roots just to make sure that the color, that the scalp looks like scalp and doesn't look like yellow and then roots. So keep that in mind when you are doing it if you don't go all the way down. So on this next part, we are just braiding the closure together because now we are about to get into the roots of the rest of the wig and we don't want any extraness in the way. So we're braiding this up as we prepare to get started on the back of the wig and coloring the roots on the rest of it. So here we are to the back, and what I do, I don't lump tracks together when it comes to this. I go track by track. So here I am now, just getting to the bottom of the wig, getting to the very bottom where the track is, and we're going to start from the bottom up. You do not have to start from the bottom up. If you're more comfortable starting from the top and going down, that is perfectly fine. This is just my preference in order to be more organized. And we're going to pin up the top of the wig. You can use a hair clip, you can use a scrunchie, a ponytail, whatever you need. And we're just going to do the same exact thing that we did on the closure. We're going to do it right here on each track, front and back, top and bottom, just to make sure that we are not missing any spots. So as you can see here, we are not flipping it up. We're doing the bottom, and we're going to do this on each and every track, as well as going in with little sections in between and coloring those pieces as well. is just another example of how the roots looked a little more yellow because we did not go all the way down. And now we are about to get started on the color. Now this is not a full bottle. Like I said, I had some left. It's about half a bottle. So I just poured the entire half that I had in the bowl, and now I'm about to go in and also pour in half of the 7 in because I don't want to overpower the initial ash blonde. So I just put half and half in there, and then I went in with the rest of my developer. You want to make sure that you are putting in double the amount of developer than you are of the actual color itself so that you can have enough to distribute through. And you want to make sure as well that it is completely mixed. The mixture is not clumpy or lumpy because you want to get your money's worth out of this color, and you want to be able to stretch it as far as you can without having to go and buy several bottles. So now we are about to get started, and we're just repeating the same process, but this time we are making sure that we are combing through it as well. And as you can see, I'm not only combing through it, but I'm massaging the color in. I did the same thing on the roots when it came to the tracks of the wig because it's a little bit harder to get it to distribute evenly on the roots, on the tracks, and on just the longer hair in general. So you want to make sure that you are massaging the color in. You don't want to have those color mistakes where you are having patches of yellow in it. And that is something that can still happen no matter how careful you are. But to just minimize the risk of having patches of yellow still left after you just went through and spent hours coloring your hair, you want to make sure that you are massaging it through and combing it through as much as possible to make sure that you're touching each and every strand of hair that you can. the shampoo and conditioner that I use on all of my wigs. Bio Silk, I find it cheapest at Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and this is the finished results. I do not go in with any other type of shampoos, any purple or blue shampoos. I just go ahead and go in with what I have, and it leaves the hair nice and silky. I went in and cut some layers and some curtain bangs, and this is the finished results. So thank y'all so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.